This is the Lyndsay Stafford Show.
Welcome back to the Lyndsay Stafford Show. We are here today with my friend Eric Nordhoff, who is an entrepreneur in the Middle Tennessee area. We're going to talk about a couple things. Walking Dead, we're going to talk about, which is a show I've never watched. But we're going to talk about failure, and we're also going to talk about business overall. Eric does some really cool things. I'm excited for you guys to hear from him. So I'm going to just kind of kick it off with Eric. Welcome to the show today.
It's great to be here, Lyndsay.
Yeah,
Love
and you
being
have your own podcast, so tell us about that.
Yeah, it's called From Passion to Profits, and it's for the creative entrepreneur, the person who
right up my alley,
who wants to monetize their creativity, make money from what they love to do, and so that could be a lot of different things.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Tell me how you started that.
I started it kind of began in 2012 when I started my first podcast.
Okay.
Actually, a little bit before that, I started listening to podcasts that taught me how to do online marketing.
Okay.
And it was so eye-opening for me because I came out of the music industry. I helped my wife. Before that, I would help my wife build her music business. So it's not a business. I mean, she would go traveling and we treated it like a business.
Yeah.
It would basically to help her develop her career.
And what kind of musician is she?
What did you say?
Singing, piano,
songwriter. She's primarily a songwriter, but piano is her.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure I've seen pictures with a piano, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's a Grammy-nominated, Dove Award-winning songwriter. She's way more talented than me.
She's totally an underachiever.
So I spent my time monetizing her creativity.
Awesome.
And that's kind of how I dove into doing this for others.
It's such a pattern. We talked, my friend Nate Feathers was on earlier today. You know, I always batch record and batch everything in life, usually.
Absolutely.
I mean, seriously, it's just the smart way to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about earlier, his grandfather, he spent some time with his grandfather who said, I did this business and then I kind of saw the opportunity to do this. And then I saw the opportunity to this.
Mm-hmm.
And that is like serial entrepreneur. I hate that phrase.
I do too.
I really hate it,
Yeah.
but it's just you're always looking, you just see opportunities wherever you go.
That's what it is. Entrepreneur seems kind of highfalutin, and I'm not hoity-toity like that.
Same.
I don't even calling myself that, but what's another word for it? You know,
yeah.
I see creative opportunities and I can't help but monetize
Yeah.
them. My wife says I like to blow things up.
I love that.
So.
My daughter gets really annoyed because like my hair and makeup artist, her name's Lyndsay Byrne. You guys should follow her. I will tag her. She always does my makeup and hair for podcasts. It's not every time, but if I can get her, I do.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got a photographer. And so we're at the house and we're doing Isabel's pageant photo shoots. And Lyndsay and Brittany were talking about this. And I said, you really should do this. And Isabel's like, Mom, do you always have to think about how they can turn something in? It's like, I can't help it. I just see it everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so on that note, so you saw this opportunity with like this woman you're in love with. How long have you guys been married?
27 years.
I knew it was longer than us, and you just celebrated an anniversary not that long ago. Yeah, happy anniversary, 27 years. Holy moly. It's amazing. Have you been married longer than you've not been married now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I won't reveal my age, but I think I'm
29.
Actually, I am 29.
Yeah.
Eternally. I feel like I'm 10, actually, to be honest. But just about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know we've done the math. I forget what year it is. I'm like, at this point, I will have been a Stafford longer than I was a Straight.
That was your maiden name? Straight?
Yeah. So it's my middle. Yeah. Strait.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not really a name you can do a lot with because it's kind of controversial too, like Straight. And I do have a brother who's gay. So like that's, he still has his last name is Straight, but
okay. I bet that's interesting conversations. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope he has a sense of humor about it.
Oh yes, totally. Yeah, okay. Totally. So when we founded Stafford Solutions, my dad was like, I'm really glad you took Dave's last name and like did something with that. My middle name is actually Straight though. Okay. So when I was born, this is a fact Jim probably doesn't even know this. I was born Natalie Lyndsay Straight.
Okay.
So
I can't see you as a Natalie.
Yeah, right? Okay. So my mom loved Natalie Wood. I was the oldest. It was just a name that was in her mind. From the very beginning, pretty much called me Lyndsay.
Uh-huh.
And just I never went by Natalie. It was like so annoying in school to be like, that's not my name. I don't use that.
Right.
And so when I got married, I was like, I'm dropping my first name. I'm just going to change it to Lyndsay. I want to keep my maiden name, Lyndsay Stafford. And I actually, this was many, many years ago. We've been married almost 20 years. So it's 20 years ago. Dave booked plane tickets for us to go to Florida. And we were engaged. We weren't married yet, but he was in charge of that, booked our trip, and he would never be in charge of booking the trips now. It's funny how
I can't imagine
it's funny
that.
how the world changes, right? Well, honestly, it would be me, but also Carrie, my assistant, would handle most of it. But he booked it all, and he booked my name on the plane ticket as Lyndsay S. Stafford.
Okay.
And so I couldn't change the plane ticket. You can't change that. It's not refundable. Back then, you really couldn't get a refund. And we got married. I went to the Social Security office and said, I want to change my name too. And they're like, you can't just change your first name because you get married. I was like, wait, what? So I had to go to court. I had to go in front of a judge and actually pay. It was like $50 to go in front of a judge and legally have my name changed. So now I carry my name change certificate with my marriage certificate when I need it for legal documentation because my birth certificate does not correlate to my marriage.
That seems like a lot of work.
Yeah.
But it's worth it.
Well,
you are officially a Lyndsay Stafford.
Officially, no more Natalie. Isn't that?
No more Natalie.
Couldn't you even Natalie Stafford Show?
I think you'd be about 30%. No offense to Natalie's.
Yes, Natalie's are great.
30% less effective.
I agree. I'm totally a Lyndsay. So anyways, that was my little tangent about the last name. So you guys have been married for 27 years. You saw this opportunity in her and said, I'm going to help you maximize your potential. And then how did you start doing that with other people?
Yeah, so I really just did a bunch of experiments. My life is just a bunch of creative experiments. So I knew what it took because I worked in the music industry and and we had young kids. And so I just I'm an executor. I get things done. So I see the vision, I get things done. Sometimes I ask her permission, sometimes I don't. And I just started booking her for concerts and, shows, and her family lives up in Michigan. So we would book a whole run of shows for 2 weeks if we were going up there to visit them. And that would be kind of how we would build it. And of course, I built an email list and started learning, how to market to those people. And, there's an article by a guy, I can't remember his name right now, but it's called 1,000 True Fans. Okay. And if you can build 1,000 true fans for whatever it is that you're doing that will buy everything that you put out, you can make a pretty good living. And I kind of set out to prove him right. And then I read a book called The 4-Hour Work Week, which changed my life. I read that. Rich Dad, Poor Dad changed my life. I never looked at finances the same, never looked at passive income the same. Yeah. And so I was kind of ruined. And that opened up the door once podcasting came out, because I went to school for television, radio, broadcast journalism. And a guy named David Muir beat me out for everything. Do you know who David Muir is? He is on World News Tonight now. He's the main host on World News Tonight.
Jim knows him, he's
ABC's
nodding.
World News Tonight. He beat me out for everything up in Ithaca College, where I went to school. Okay. So I majored in broadcast journalism, realized I wasn't as good as David Muir, moved into music, did that for a long period of time. But my second career was really building businesses from podcasts.
Super cool. So you've had the podcast since 2012?
Yeah. Well, I've been podcasting since 2012.
Okay. But you've had some failures in podcasting.
I have.
So let's talk about that.
So the big failure that I wanted to share is The Walking Dead.
Can I just comment that you wanted to share a failure that I am so pleased, because it is not always easy to get someone to say, let me tell you about a time I failed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's probably my biggest failure, but it's also my biggest success. So it's kind of a double
we would call that a
story.
Medium at our house. We do highs and lows at dinner. So we do highs and lows. And then Isabel decided we need a medium, because sometimes something that's like good is also not good. Yeah. And that's a medium.
Yeah. This is a medium story.
Okay.
So I'll try to be quick. Back in 2012, my neighbor, I just moved into a new neighborhood. My neighbor was watching this show called The Walking Dead, which is all about the zombie apocalypse. Okay. And I also had been secretly watching the show. My wife hates this stuff.
Yeah, me too. I'm with her.
My kids hates this stuff, but my kids were too little at the time to really get into it. But 2012, I had been listening to podcasts for about 4 years, never had the guts to start it, didn't know how to. But in literally in 2012, I started 2 podcasts. One was for fans of The Walking Dead with my neighbor who I didn't know that well.
Okay.
We were basically watching in his basement. He had a movie theater room, and we would literally go in there and watch it. And so,
and you would do the podcast while you were watching
no,
it?
not yet.
Okay,
we hadn't started the podcast yet.
Okay.
We watched it together. About 3 or 4 weeks into it, this was like November. My friend, who I didn't realize was a huge Comic-Con, I knew he was a collector because we shared a love for the TV show Lost. Do you remember that show?
Yeah.
And so
I'm not a big TV person.
It's okay.
But I do know the shows. I just don't watch them.
It's okay. So we shared that interest, and then we watched The Walking Dead together. And he calls me up one night or texts me and says, "Hey, I hear they're filming the final season or the closing episode or the final scenes from the end of this season in Sonoy, Georgia, which is south of Atlanta. That's where they do all the filming."
Oh, okay.
So he'd been kind of following that. And I said, well, let's go check it out. And so we got up at 3 a.m. We drove to Atlanta. We got there around 10 a.m.
Is it that long of a drive?
Well, to this location in Sonoy, Georgia.
I was going to say, because Atlanta's like maybe 3.5 from us, right?
During this part of it, from Nashville to Atlanta was about 4 hours.
Yeah.
But with the time change, it was 5 hours.
Yeah.
So we get there, and within a half an hour, we start meeting celebrities, and we start meeting, all these people that we had been watching.
Yeah.
At this point, this was season 3. We had watched seasons 1. We binged 1 and 2 on Netflix. And by the time we got there, we were pretty much we were just fans of the show. And we ended up meeting celebrity after celebrity after celebrity. This was the point in the series where they took over a town and they named it Woodbury.
Okay.
But it was actually Sonoy, Georgia.
Got it.
It had this really iconic water tower. Anyway, long story short, we met every celebrity from the show.
Wow.
And there were a lot of big ones as well.
They were just like out mingling around, or like?
At this point, there was maybe a dozen of us that were there as fans. They closed the whole town down.
Wow.
You could walk around the town, and then, celebrities would be in their trailers, but they would come out and meet the fans. And we met like people in costume because they were in the middle of, in between scenes, they were were resetting and then coming out to meet the fans. So we had an amazing epic day. This was November 16th of 2012.
Obviously impactful, but this is like before it must have been that big of a deal.
It wasn't yet.
Okay. Because there's no way that,
Mm-hmm. So while we were there, we would go in between locations, and we did a whole bunch of location visits. We just geeked out like little kids, me and my neighbor.
It's so fun.
And they called us the Walker Stalkers. Somebody put us as the Walker Stalkers in their phone. And that later that night, we were just on a high driving back. We had like a 20-hour day, 22-hour day. So we finally got back around 2 a.m. And my buddy and I, before I crashed and fell asleep and he drove, we were like, yeah, we should do a podcast to talk about our experience today and talk about, our fandom. And so the next day we literally started our podcast, and in my basement on a crappy microphone, and just began talking about our fandom. We made up callers, like we had people that we changed our voices and pretended to be other people, and we all had little characters, and we had this little shtick going on, and nobody listened, but the whole time we were trying to get somebody from the show to come and join us, like a real actor or somebody. So
come to my basement with us, please,
or just join us remotely. So we finally got a guy after about 6 episodes of pretending that we had real listeners. We had a guy call in, and he happens to be the head of special effects. His name is Greg Nicotero. And he's like the real deal. He did Jaws. So he did like Jaws and Close Encounters of the Third Kind and all those iconic movies from the 80s and 90s. So long story short, he comes on, and because we're in Music City, our shtick was we're going to write we're going to write songs, parody songs of their favorite artists for the podcast because we wanted to make it fun, you know,
so fun
for them and for us. So we wrote a song and we introduced him with this song. It was a Led Zeppelin song that we just kind of redid and put his name in it. And he loved it. He shared it with all the other actors on the show. And they all, from that point on, we had everybody from the entire show, cast and crew on our podcast every week for 28 straight weeks.
Oh my gosh. So you just rotate one person different every time.
Right. And so within 3 months, we were the #2 podcast on iTunes.
That's incredible.
And it blew up because we involved fans and we knew how to engage. We always had a fan join us for the podcast. So
like
they
an
could
actual
ask
fan?
questions.
Yeah.
Yes, they could. It was all done via GoToWebinar at the time,
Okay.
which was kind of the thing, or Skype, you know, back in 2012, 2013. Long story short, we were, after we decided, you know, this is the thing, and we're actually having fun with this. We decided to host a small meetup, and we had 100 people show up in Sonoy, Georgia, for the season finale, which happens to be exactly when we were there live, 6 months earlier.
Yeah.
So this was Easter Sunday. We watched a zombie apocalypse meetup that night to kind of finish the season. And we had 100 people show up from Connecticut, Canada, Oklahoma. People were driving in. It was we were on such a high, and we said, we got to do this again. Let's do a season premiere party. And so we started selling our season premiere party. We ended up having about 700 people sign up for that.
Oh my gosh.
But in between that, we decided to do a GoFundMe and start a convention, because my buddy was he loved going to Comic-Cons, and we thought, oh, well, let's just do a
Walking Dead convention.
A Walking Dead convention. Well, long story short, we needed to raise about 50 grand to solidify the convention center. We ended up renting out the Atlanta's America's Mart downtown, one of the bigger convention halls. We ended up getting 11,000 people to show up at this convention that were all fans. We had 40 actors from the show.
Oh my gosh, Eric.
It was epic. It was epic.
That's amazing.
And we, thankfully, we were close to losing money. You know, there was times when I actually tried to quit 3 times because I'm the brakes in our relationship and it turns out my buddy is the accelerator. So I have a feeling you're a little bit more like him.
Oh, I'm definitely the accelerator.
I'm a little bit more of the brakes.
Yeah.
So I kind of kept him in check. But I was the guy that was I don't want to keep doing this. I don't want to put my family at risk, because we made some terrible, this wasn't failure, but we made some terrible mistakes. Never do a convention and promise a hotel that we're going to fill the space, because we were panicking because we had to fill 300 rooms.
Oh my gosh. When I book a hotel event, I'm always nope, I'm not guaranteeing room blocks.
Yeah.
You can hold it, but I'm not going to guarantee.
What we were doing. We thought it was part of the package. Anyway, we made a ton of mistakes. We broke even. My buddy says, well, let's do another one in Chicago. So I'm all right, let's do another one in Chicago. So we did Chicago next. Then we did New York and Boston.
How many years was this spanning over?
Well, this was literally from the time we started the podcast, November of 2012. In November 1st of 2013 was our convention. So within a year.
I mean, I've thrown gas on some fires before, and to do all of that, to host a convention of that size. Yeah. That's not a small feat. Were you doing anything else outside of that?
Well, it's funny. At the same time, I started my second podcast, which was for our network marketing business that my wife and I started. Yeah. My wife got healed of Lyme disease, and she has a whole testimony.
So you're all right, I'm crushing it here.
So I'm well, let's do this podcast. So I literally started the podcast within a week of each other with my wife. So here I am doing this faith and wellness podcast with my wife. And then the next day I'm doing my zombie podcast with my neighbor. And it was a total dichotomy, but both of those blew up. So our network marketing business blew up. We ended up signing up and enrolling tens of thousands of people on our team. And it just we hit a run where it just blew
amazing.
up. So, and then my wife wins a Dove Award and wins for her songwriting. So all of this was going on. Plus I had a job at Amazon. I worked at Amazon for an audiobook company. Okay. So all of this was going on, and I'm trying to manage and balance all 4 of these businesses. They're all blowing up, doing well. And so, but I just finally, had to stop doing some of those. And I'll explain what I decided to do. But we ended up doing 17 conventions in 17 different cities over the course of a year. And we had a cruise that sold out in 24 hours. It was like we were at the peak.
Wow.
There's an Inc. 5000 article on us that we were like, I think number 120 on their list of businesses. And we were privately owned, but we were just killing it. But the problem is my wife hated it. So I also brought my daughter to these conventions. And if you know these conventions at all, they are cosplays. Okay. So people are cosplaying as zombies. People are cosplaying all the time. And my daughter was barely 5 years old at the time.
My gosh. Was your wife coming to them too?
My wife came, she tried to be so proud of me, and she was super proud and happy for me that I was having this blast. But she also was really, really struggling with the content, with me being gone all the time.
Yeah.
And the kind of stuff was kind of dark. It ended up being kind of dark, the kind of stuff I'd get into.
Yeah.
And I brought it home. So my big failure was getting myself involved in all of the darkness and all of the stuff and the fame and the fortune and all of the stuff, like the parties. And I mean, it just got way out of control, to just not have boundaries.
So interesting. Cause when you brought it up, I've known you for a little bit, and I know your faith and your foundation. Mm-hmm. So when you brought up Walking Dead, I was like, all right, this will be interesting.
Right.
Right. Cause that's not something that I would have pegged you for.
How does this Christian guy get involved in the Walking Dead zombie apocalypse show?
Yeah. And not just get involved, but like create this massive business out of it. So how did you walk away?
What I learned, another failure was not putting boundaries up with my partner.
Yeah.
So my business partner was all gung ho, like totally into it.
All gas, no brakes. Yeah.
All gas, no brakes. And just my big lessons were just not putting up boundaries and respecting myself enough, respecting my family enough. I would always sacrifice my family and my values for this business. And the more it accelerated, the more it just kind of steamrolled over my family. And it kind of came to a head when my daughter started having some physical and health problems, and she became scared. She started kindergarten, and she became so scared of going to kindergarten and leaving home. And she would just have nightmares. She would be crying. Like when she would come home, she would have these swollen eyes, and it just broke my heart. And we couldn't figure out what it was. She couldn't put words to it, but it was all the darkness that she was experiencing and all the fear that she had experienced. She couldn't put words to it. Plus she was experiencing some health issues from a tick bite, which was a whole nother story. So it kind of all combined, and we ended up pulling her out of school. I ended up telling my partner, I need to get totally out of this. As much as I was having a blast, I needed to end it because it was not going to work for me.
So did you dissolve the partnership, or
I sold my half of the business to him.
Yeah.
So at least I did something smart with it. If I had just waited another year, it would have been worth a whole lot more. But this was 2015. This was the beginning of 2015. Yeah. So it was the right thing to do.
So how do you first of all, thank you for sharing and all the vulnerability. And that's also like super cool to be able to like have that accomplishment that you got through. And when we're able to do those things, starting a business is not easy. Maintaining a business is not easy. Growing a business is not easy. All of that. Partnerships are hard. How have you leveraged those lessons? Because failure isn't really failure. It's about learning from your mistakes. But going into where you are today, how have you taken that lesson, that time to today's world and your decisions you make 10 years later?
Well, it's interesting. Having the partner that I did was so good for me because he was able to push me way beyond my capabilities. What I thought I could do was way greater than it was incredible what I was able to do with him, kind of like as a personal trainer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that leveled up my possibilities, the what I thought would be possible for other people as well. Not only for myself, but for other people as well.
Sure.
But it also gave me a sensitivity to understand that you have to put up boundaries. And so I think what it gives me is it gives me this wealth of experience where I can kind of pull from my mistakes, pull from my successes, pull from the highs and the lows and say, all right, I know that more is possible for you. Are you willing to let me push you? As a coach, that's what I love to do. I love to push. And so I'm you wouldn't know me. Like I was a conservative, quiet person in 2012. And now I'm like all up, like I came alive having this experience. It was the freedom that I was able to experience and the things that happened, not just with the Walker Stalkers, but with our network marketing business opened up a ton of opportunities.
Oh yeah.
And, I saw that podcasting or any, YouTube channel or any kind of public, front-facing thing, whether it's a newsletter or a book, a live event, those can all be very, very. They can be monetized, and I learned how to create incredible marketing funnels to support those creative endeavors. Like you may love podcasting. But did you know that you can earn a 6-figure living from podcasting if you really put a plan together and built an audience? And, I learned how to build community, how to do live events, it was just endless amounts of knowledge. And the opportunities that we live in this day and age in 2025 is incredible. The tools that are available, the software that's available, the ways of connecting with people. There's more and more ways to do that through social media and through some of the platforms that we have today. So
you learned a ton from that and it gave you some success and you survived, marriage survived and you guys got through and you
almost didn't make it, almost finished at about the 17th year.
I think most people that have been married for 27 years can say, there's a time we almost didn't make it, right? There's going to be that, you got to push through that. That could be a whole nother podcast episode on failure, right? So for someone who's like looking to go try something new, because that all started in a podcast in your basement, right? That was like, this is fun. Let's go do it. Saw an opportunity, jumped on it, weren't afraid to go ask for a yes, right? My son's little friend, I shouldn't say little, I think Lucas is 6'2" or 6'4", but he says,
young.
Yeah, he's young. He's young, but he's not little. He says, I already have the no, I might as well go for the yes. Right. And if you and this is a 14-year-old kid saying this, by the way, that I was like, I really love that.
He must have caught that from you.
Yeah, no, definitely not me. His dad was a professional basketball player and his parents are amazing. And I'm sure that's where he took it from. But he's got all these great life lessons from, just the families, 1 of 5. They're an awesome family. But I already have the no, might as well go for the yes. Think about you driving down to Georgia to do this and ask these people to be on your podcast.
Right,
and
right.
Out of nowhere, right? What advice would you give someone who has a dream that might be as crazy as a podcast about a TV show that's up and coming? What advice would you give them?
Well, I would say if you are coming to life doing this, if this is something that brings you life and brings you joy and makes you feel like you're playing in a sandbox, that is a good place to be.
Yeah.
That is it's really important that you do something that makes you come alive. Jim was talking about his, his Marvel podcast, and
do you have a Marvel podcast?
Restarting that.
Wait, what? We never talk about this.
It's called Capes and Hammers.
Okay. When do you do it?
We haven't done one in like 2.5 years.
But well, that's why.
So Jim's got to start it up again.
We do. We're going to be starting it up again. Make sure to keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. Capes and
I'm going to hold you to it.
No, Ben and I are going to be starting to
good.
ramp it up again. That podcast has sat dormant for about 2.5 years.
Yeah.
It's on 11 episodes. It still gets downloads.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Like significant downloads.
Wow.
Well, that's the thing. It's like you're making an impact on somebody else's life. And people are, you don't need a huge audience. You need 1,000 true fans.
Yeah.
And you can do a lot with if I had 1,000 people come to my conventions or conferences, that's a pretty good, pay, $1,000 or whatever it is per person. That's a business.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's just about looking at, okay, you play, but there is a stewardship of that. So it's kind of like going from a kid to an adult is stewarding that resource and that what makes you come alive. Because when you're passionate about something, it transfers. Sales is a transfer of passion.
Yep.
And just like a podcast is a transfer of passion. You're passionate about what you're doing to help small business owners and business people with what you're doing. You probably feel like you're playing sometimes.
Every time I get involved, it doesn't feel like work. It's like solving a mystery, helping them work through a challenge.
Yeah.
It's fun.
You're really good at that.
Thank you.
I can tell that you do that well because you transfer that passion, you transfer that belief onto me.
Yeah.
And I think I just love seeing that in other people and reminding them, first of all, that what they have is vital and important and somebody needs to hear it. It's just about taking that message and structuring it properly and stewarding the finances of it well and stewarding the audience of it well.
So what you do now is help folks generate an income based on what they're doing that they love.
Yeah.
So tell everybody where to find you.
EricNordhoff.com. EricNordhoff.com.
And on Instagram, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, website, all of it. We're going to link everything in the show notes.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody who has a thought or idea or a passion that maybe doesn't want to keep doing what they've been doing forever or stay in a JOB that they don't love, then ask me, why do you call it a JOB? Why don't you just say job? I'm like, I don't really know why, but it's difference between working for someone else and working for yourself.
You're extending it out, making it feel really cumbersome.
Really long, a JOB. No, if you want something more and new and bigger, Eric is the person to talk to for that.
Yeah.
You take an idea and help them create a convention from it, right? Maybe the analogy would be like something small and dormant into whatever they're capable of imagining and more.
Yeah. Why stop at the dreaming?
Right.
Why are you, if you're continuing to dream about something and you're just not putting it into motion, it's time to stop.
Yeah.
Like it is possible.
Yeah.
It will take a lot of work. It will take a lot of effort. You'll have a lot of people that you need to partner with and link arms with. You don't need to know everything. You don't have to have it all figured out. There are a lot of people out there that can help you. Yeah. There's technology that can help you. And you don't do this podcast alone. Jim is sitting here doing a ton of work.
All day he sits with me.
He's working it. So, I commend, you need people like that to come alongside.
Oh man, I have the best support crew. Jim's one of them. I got the best people on my team.
I agree.
Yeah.
A lot of people are afraid too. A lot of people are afraid to invest, afraid to spend money, to make money. I think that's a big part of it. A lot of what I do as a coach is help people overcome fear. Mm-hmm. I had a podcast, the same feed for this podcast was called the Courage Cast for 6 years. And that's kind of what I did, was help people kind of get that 5 seconds of courage to be able to do the thing or make the call or do whatever it took to get the yes.
And be strategic as you do it, right? Because you don't want to just jump ship without a raft to land on.
That's right.
So I think the strategy, helping as a business coach, or I focus really mostly on consulting. I do coaching, but mostly consulting work with business owners, is about helping them to build that strategy out. It's not just like, I want to do it. I'm going to go do it today. Well, let's build that out. Let's build the courage while we build out the plan.
Let me ask you, what do you consider the difference between consulting work and coaching work?
Good question. I still do coaching also because I just love the passion that I have when I can help somebody unlock their potential or unlock the solve for the problem that they're facing Coaching for me is one-on-one. That's a one-on-one experience. Typically for consulting, it's not just me, it's the team is involved and it is with a business.
Strategy, there's a strategy involved.
And there's strategy in coaching. Consulting is a bigger scale, I guess is probably the best way to say it for well-established businesses that are looking to scale or change. Coaching is typically for a lower revenue producing business owner. That, the price tag fits that, right? And the effort in a coaching environment, it's more of we talk, you have a strategy, but you have to do the work. And when it comes to the consulting piece, I have a team that helps support the work, right? So they go in and do the work.
Okay. So it is kind of, in some ways, it's done for them.
Yeah. So when we talk about at Stafford Solutions, our consulting is not like a typical consultant where we go in and say, here's the problems in your business. Now, good luck fixing
here's your
that,
strategy.
Right? Yeah. We can do that, but then we say, now here's what it looks like for us to come implement this, right? So whether it's a remake of, systems, operations, SOPs, a playbook, hiring, org chart, whatever that looks like, the team goes in and actually facilitates the change.
I love that.
Very different than most consultants. Most consultants charge for like a piece of paper or a strategy, right? We actually go in and make the changes.
Yeah. I don't know how often you say that on your podcast, but I'm glad you had a chance to.
Not enough. Thank you for asking.
I wanted to pull that out of you.
Thank you, my friend. No, and from a coaching perspective, if somebody wants coaching from you because they hear what you're talking about today and they're like, hey, he's speaking to me. What does that look like? Do you have talk to me on your website or a fill out?
Yeah. A lot of times people reach out to me about how to start a podcast and how to start from home. So I have a page on my website. It's a pop-up. So it'll pop up that says, are you wanting to start a podcast? And it's a real simple 6-day automated email that they get every day to help them get their podcast launched.
Nice.
So that's a big thing that I do. But I also have appointments that you can make.
Okay,
so you can talk with me. I do a free consult with you for 30 minutes. And we just kind of talk about your dream together. And then we'll see if it's a good fit. And then I'll put a package together based on the questions I ask. So I have a set series of questions that I'll ask my potential trainee or person I'm working with.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Eric, it's been such a pleasure. I learned some things about you that I didn't know today. The Walker Stalkers is something that I had no idea. And so I'm not sure, I wasn't prepared for that, but that was such a cool story to hear. Thank you for sharing, being so vulnerable, talking about failure. Eric Nordhoff, coach and
creative strategist.
Creative strategist, coach, and just all around encourager. And I think you'll be amazing. So find Eric online, ericnordhoff.com. Thank you for tuning in, listeners. Thank you for watching, listening. Like, share, comment, review, and rate. Thanks for tuning in.